Law for mankind, common law. How do we legally protect ourselves from the system? We're going to be talking to some experts in the field, I like to say. And I think with very little further ado here, we are about to bring them in. So, yes, we've got both guys in the house. So, let me bring in David, General Executioner. There's one. What's up,
Hey,
Dave?
Ben.
How are
Not
you,
much.
man?
How are you? Good. Yeah, I'm good. How are
Good.
you?
All right, Rob, bringing you in here. Guys, I'm excited. Oh, there's the crew. All right.
Busy man right there.
It
Busy
never
man.
ends, boys.
I
It
know.
never ends.
Never.
Well, fill us in. We'll start with you, Rob.
Sorry, just moving things around here. Well, House of Marcus Fellowship, is doing its thing. It's growing. A lot of people are in there, trying to learn this stuff. And of course, we're always pushing the envelope as well. So yeah, it's just a matter of educating people, getting them to understand, what this really is all about. And honestly, this isn't about anything secular. It's mostly about spiritual. And, the system will allow you out once you come into that, but you have to understand what that is. And you should also probably really understand what the Bible's all about. Because most people think the Bible is, it's just, touch it. It's not spiritual. It's not. And that's the whole hijinks. They want you to believe that the Bible is yucky so that you don't see the way out, because the way out is in there. Okay, so it's really about that spiritual law more so than the secular law. But then how you translate that into the secular law is very tricky. So that's what we're doing at the House of Marcus. We're pulling all that together. And it's been a lot of work, man. Tons of research, tons of, hours and hours hashing out the Bible, hashing out American jurisprudence and all these ridiculous legal texts just to figure out shit, man. What is this 5,000-year prison cell we're breaking out of? So we're close, man. We're close.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. Dave,
Pretty
how
wild.
about you, man? What have you been doing?
I've been on House of Marcus studying and getting my documents ready. I've kind of, I was studying to sue people, and now I'm kind of backing off that because I've seen corrupt judges throw out the kind of lawsuits that I want to bring. And so I'm like, do I really want to bang my head against the wall? And the more I study Rob's stuff, the more I'm seeing that might not be the way to go at the present time to put all my energy into. And so that's been what I've been working on is, Ben, when you and I talked originally on a live with Nomad, so we were talking about the private administrative process and affidavits and stuff. So that's what I was into, is like, yeah, I'm going to send affidavits, and then I'm going to line them up and get them in default and then sue them. And it's hard to enforce that. You really have to know what you're doing, and I don't want to step into something that I'm not fully prepared for. So I'm just focused on studying what Rob's brought to the table with his fellowship, and there is so much knowledge to glean from that website and learning from others. It's just, Rob, man, I got a lot of respect for all the work you've put into that. It's really, really, it's a lot to take in. It's easy to get overwhelmed by it, right?
Yeah, it makes people's heads explode, man. Like the smoke comes out of their ears, But what we're getting ready to do is, and you've probably seen in the newsletters, I'm getting ready to introduce our video library page, where I'm just going to start, answering questions in 15-minute segments so people can search, listen to it. Oh, that's what he's talking about, and tie it together with our other stuff on there. I've kind of left the lessons and courses go a little bit because I've been so busy, I haven't been able to get to them. So to do these quick 15-minute videos is really going to be a way that we can help, get people this information quickly rather than reading it all the time and searching and all that. So we're getting ready to launch that here, hopefully next week. That'll be ready to roll.
I love it. I love it. This is great, guys. Well, I'm so happy you joined. Every time, how many done was maybe our fourth live together, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
were you, Rob, you and me? I don't remember. We're losing track, and I think this is our third, David. So, but guys, a few things. We're going to do more of a Q&A session this time because we
Right.
have I sometimes drive a lot of thoughts towards these guys and don't really give you guys the floor. So we're going to talk about common law. We're going to talk about protecting your rights. One thing is like getting out of the system. And that's really what sparked this conversation around this time, is because we've got the Offgrid bundle
Right.
that we're doing.
Amazing.
And it's an amazing thing. And we have a phenomenal common law course in there. It's called the Law for Mankind. Now,
Right.
Rob and David aren't in that, but it's very similar to the type of conversation we're having here. So I just wanted to give it a little plug, because if you guys like the conversation that we're having, and in addition to going to Rob's website and joining the membership there, which I want you to talk about, there's a great supplementary course to giving you these foundational principles in common law, in protecting your rights, and it's in that bundle, and you can get there. At least I know through Dave, you have a link for it, right?
Yep.
I've got one too. Rob, I don't know if you didn't set that up, we're going to get you one real quick, so you can also, if you want to spread the word on this. So that's just another thing I want to just plug really quick as a side note, as an option. But with that being said, I really want to give the floor to you guys to put your questions in that question box about, whether it's about taxes, it's about law. And Rob, do you want to even just like frame maybe what's a good category, or how to really define what we can go into today in terms of different legal related topics?
I mean, that's going to be a tough one because as you guys know, especially I know Dave does a lot of study and research as well. Like it's man, tons of rabbit holes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, I think for me, what the big thing is people understanding the cage that's actually around them, right? They don't think there's a cage. There's a cage. There's been a cage. There's been one for 5,000 years. Okay. What they've done is they've taken, when they went to monotheism, okay, they created the one God and all that stuff. We're all one type of thing, right? And they created that narrative so that they could control everybody, okay? So you really have to understand the spiritual aspect of this as well, because that's how far it goes back. So I think one of the biggest things is for people to just wrap their head around the enormity of what this is, and that it's not going to take 5 minutes to get out of, because, it's a lot of unraveling. So my message to people would be to just keep learning, don't go into fear. Don't go into, oh my God, the world is crumbling. They're doing this to us. They're doing that to us. Because there is a way out. But if you keep thinking along those lines, you're just going to manifest that for yourself anyway. Kind of like, I got a lot of respect for Dave in the fact that he said, you know what, I'm going to back off of this because it's taking too much of my time. I'm fighting this thing. And Dave, well that if you were to keep doing that, your energy would just be sucked dry. That's what they want. We don't want to do that. We want to become knowledgeable and learn how to protect ourselves, which is why I think the common law package you're offering is probably an amazing thing, because at least people have something to start with and they can start protecting themselves. Right. So try not to get overwhelmed, people. Just know that this is huge, 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 and it goes back many, many, many millennia. And we're unraveling this with all the amazing people in the world that are doing great things.
On that note,
please,
it is very spiritual, because I think a lot of the people who haven't figured out this whole scam that's happened in the last couple of years, and they're going to have problems with the new scams that come up, is because they're kind of disconnected from source. They're kind of disconnected from the wisdom that can be gleaned from having a relationship with the Creator, and studying natural law, and understanding the hierarchy of creation. The Creator created men and women, and then men and women created governments, and governments created corporations, and corporations created titles. Without that basic foundational knowledge, and being sort of an atheist, or I have nothing against, we don't have to get into atheists or different religions, but without that foundation, you're not going to have really something to lean on as far as understanding law, common law, natural law, the different systems of law. And then there's Roman civil law, which Rob has studied, which is law of property, law of obligation, and law of status, right? And so if you, it really is a spiritual thing. And it's like, I saw a meme the other day, someone posted, before you get into some argument with some stranger online, just take into account they might be completely disconnected from spirit and source. And is that where you want to put your energy? You know, so it is, just to echo Rob, it is very spiritual based, and it has nothing to do with any religion. It's just, it's the knowledge that comes from being connected to source, creator. You know, there is a certain level of knowledge that you get just by praying and asking for the wisdom and the knowledge. And then all of a sudden doors open and people give you the knowledge you're looking for, and you develop relationships and tribes, and, you know, it's amazing.
It is, man. And even on the spiritual sense, they have to give you a way out, right? So it's been said, and you know, I'm not saying I have any proof of this or whatever, but it's been said that, you know, they give you disclosure about everything right in front of your face. And in a spiritual sense, in other levels of reality, you don't have to see it with your eyes. So their excuse in the spiritual sense is, hey, our hands are clean. We've given them so much information, and the way out, they're just looking with these eyes, not this one. So that's not our fault, right? That's their fault. They keep looking with these eyes. And really, to find the way out is through this one, right? It comes through the enlightenment and being, you know, just open to understanding that there's much more going on here when you look through the veil. And the veil is commercialism, man. It's all commerce for the most part.
Wow.
Economy.
I love what you're saying here. This is so fascinating, because I also, like, even though I was raised Christian, and I really took a path of quote unquote enlightenment, going to India, going to Thailand, and seeking the truth, reading different books out there to really say, I would always call myself spiritual but not religious, you know. Right. And when I started taking that common law course, the Law for Mankind, the one that's in the bundle, that I was really like in awe, because what they did is they said there's human, and she was like a color of the man.
Color of law, color. Yeah.
The color of law. And I was, and the idea when in my spiritual seeking was, you beyond your name, beyond your name, beyond your image, being a guy, you know, a fitness person, a son, and all of these labels that we have, you start to, your identifications, beyond that identification, I just am. I am that I am in the Christian sense, right? Mm-hmm. And so those lessons for me was, all right, how do I find my true self beyond these hues, beyond these labels? And when I started taking this common law course, I'm like, wait, the same principles are applying to the law that applies to spiritual seeking. And I was floored by that.
Well, that is the law. Yeah, spiritual stuff is the law. So the Bible, again, every answer to spirituality and everything is all in the Bible. The problem is they narrated it to you in such a way where they interpreted it for you. So you couldn't use your mind and your, you know, your creative mind to think that maybe this name of a guy isn't a guy. Maybe it's a nation. Maybe Noah was who survived after Atlantis. Okay. They didn't teach us that, but that's what's going on in the Bible. They're telling you all of this stuff, and they're giving you the way out. Okay. The way out. They've taken your inheritance from birth, because you're circumcised in your flesh, meaning when you're born into this understanding of, oh, I got to get a job. I got to rely on the government. I've got to go to college. I've got to do, instead of having faith that God gave you everything. So there's two types of births. There's physical birth out of the womb, and then there's rebirth into the spirit. And once you're reborn into the spirit, you then declare that, and then you go and set the record straight. Okay, this is how the whole processes work. But nobody does that, because no one thinks of the law being out of the Bible and how it translates into that Roman system. because it all translates. You just have to know, you got to not read it for what your pastors and priests have told you to read it for, because that's all garbage, right? What do they teach you? Damnation, you know, shame, guilt, death. You better be afraid of the Father, you know, all that kind of stuff. But that's all garbage. That's to keep your eye off of what it's really saying, that the actual path out. Like, we're breaking it down, man, and it's like, holy shit, it's all right here. They're telling you how to exit the system, the matrix, completely, and how to be respected in doing that.
Okay. So how, now this is interesting, because so was this in essence, though, you're saying the Bible was written with this direction to specifically free man from the bondages of its fellow men that are going to be using these systems against them, in essence?
In my opinion, it is written as the bylaws of this planet, and within those laws is the way out. But you can choose one or the other. You can stay in and be fearful and think that you need an economy and money, and that, oh my gosh, we're not provided for unless we have a government, and we're not provided for unless we have a job and make money, when that's all a lie, right? Because you're provided for. I mean, look, you got, you know, you can grow your food in your yard. You got water out there. I mean, the hell do you need them for, right? That's how the Bible was written, in a way that, so then what they did was they said, okay, now we're going to go out and we're going to tell it our way. And if they listen to us, well, I don't know what to tell them, right? The thing is, they got blood on their hands, though, because then they went and killed everybody that didn't listen, you know, didn't read the Bible or interpret it their way, right? The heretics.
Yeah.
So there is a level of deceit and deception. I mean, completely, right? We see that. Like, it's all deception. The entire thing is deception. So the more we figure this deception out and then use the law out of the Bible and into the civil, common law, equity, because remember, that all came later. Once you can translate all of that, now you're really cooking with gas. I mean, you go into a courtroom and bring your Bible with you. I'm sorry, I got the law right here. I'm born again, born into the Spirit. I can't interact with you people. I don't know who you're talking to. You know, they start getting real scared because they don't know what to do with you, because they don't have any jurisdiction over that.
Okay, so it's about jurisdiction then. So when you're claiming yourself to be, and explain this again, if you would, maybe Dave, your perspective on this, you know, like your jurisdiction of stepping out, and you're claiming to be what versus what not, like, just what's the foundation of that?
Well, if they're making presumptions about who you are, right? Okay. And unless you rebut those presumptions and then put the public, on notice of the actual rebuttal, and to make the claim of what you are, heirs to the kingdom of heaven, general executor, man, then there's just presumptions that aren't rebutted. And so that's this whole game, is doing the paperwork and understanding it. It's not just filling out a template. It's really understanding what you're doing. And then once someone tries to, come against you, then you're saying, well, no, I already put you on notice that I know who I am, and I'm rebutting your presumption and your claim. And they're always just trying to take down your status to a title. Like I was saying with the hierarchy of creation, they want you on the bottom, where they have control and jurisdiction over you. Law words, jurisdiction, they're over you. And so the whole thing is, once we say, no, I know who I am as a man, and I'm in peace, like Rob's always saying, like I get stuck sometimes saying we got to fight the system. No, we don't. We want to be at peace and just let them know I'm at peace with you. And I know who I am. And unfortunately, I have jurisdiction over you if you're a government agent, if you're a public servant. So I'm your boss, and I come in honor, things like that. So they're not being honorable with us. They're making presumptions. And unless we rebut those presumptions, which is what Rob is teaching, and it's a process I'm really starting to dig deep. It's a really in-depth process, and there's probably some processes like that are on this off-grid bundle, and everyone's got different methods. But I just got back from my county clerk recorder this morning, and I confirmed that they will take a power of attorney with exhibits. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to get that in.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I am redoing it, by the way, Dave.
Oh, you're
I
doing
got
another
one more
okay.
version. Yeah, because we just discovered, oh my gosh, like I get messages all the time. And some days it's very intense where the work is just not happening and everything's just grinding. And then all of a sudden it opens up. And this is how I get my channelings and my messages, right? Shows me different things in the law. And just this morning, I was like, oh my God, look at these pieces, man. They're right in front of us. Wow, this is how you actually go through and, remove your property, if you will, from the system. So to put it in perspective, like Dave is saying, they're always trying to knock you down in status. I got arrested last year in Kansas for speeding, okay? On purpose, though. I did it on purpose because I know there's a lot of people out there that have all these tricky ways of dealing with the police on the side of the road. So I was going to try something different and show that it doesn't matter if I have a license. People are like, oh, you got a license. No, I don't have a license. I've never had a license. It's impossible for me to have a license. In my reality, it's impossible for me to have a license. The only thing that can have a license is a thing, a legal person, right? A legal person, if anybody on this is watching and you've never looked up law, go into your law statutes and look at the definitions. A person is a trust, a corporation, an LLC, a partnership. That's a person. So when they give you a license, they're giving your trust a license, your person, not you. They can't give it to you. It's impossible because that's not of heaven. That's of the earth, right? So when I got pulled over, my thinking was all you guys are revenue officers. That's all you are. And lo and behold, as I'm doing the research for my case, who collects the revenue for the traffic violations in Kansas? The revenue department. I mean, it's clear. They tell you. They don't make any bones about it. They're just revenue collectors. So what I did was I said, no, I'm not going to give you any information here today. I'm sorry. If I'm not under arrest yet, I'm not free to go. This is an investigation. I'm not going to give you any information. Very kind. Like Dave said, I didn't fight them. I wasn't fighting them and arguing. These are police officers. They don't know any better. But I said, look, you guys can't proceed. I'm telling you, you're stepping outside your jurisdiction. You have no idea what it is. They don't know what their jurisdiction. They don't even know what the law is. They only know what they're told to enforce in policy. They don't really know what the law is. So this went on and on with about 6 cops standing outside the window for 2 hours. And they finally broke the window. We're going to drag you out. I'm like, no. You don't have to drag me out. Like, I'll get out. I can see that you guys aren't going to back down. That's okay. You don't understand the law. Fine. Put the cuffs on me, And I caught, man, I've got so many due process violations on these guys. It's not even fun. I mean, they just one after another. They have no idea how to administrate this legal system. So my point with that is the whole time I was kind to them. I never argued with them. I never got mad at them. I let them put the cuffs on me. Those guys were thanking me by the time I was bonded out. They were thanking me for how polite. They said, you're not like other sovereign citizens. I said, that's because I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm not that guy. I'm not angry. I'm not fighting the government. No, we're going to prove this when it comes around to court. So just like Dave was saying, I did a whole procedure that I always do, and I served them all the shit last year. Okay, this is in June. I served them July 1st. They scheduled my hearing for June 22nd this year. That's a year later. That violates the speedy trial, constitutional speedy trial statutes and everything. So I started looking, I'm like, well, why did they do that? Because they know all the shit that I gave them in my declaration of status and everything that I record. There's no way they're going to be able to trump that. There's no way. And that's what I mean. And like Dave was saying, it's knowledge. You have to live it and know it, because there's no paper, man. There's no paper that's ever going to do it for you. It's just not going to happen. The paper may be good, but when they come for you for something, how are you going to live what's in the paper if you don't know what the paper says? See what I mean?
Right.
That's the unfortunate part of it is we got to take time and study and know this stuff. We have to.
This is a really common theme about what we're talking about today. Is this concept of this bundle that Dave and I are involved in? Is it's got the different categories of organic food and gardening and how to become a sovereign person in terms of growing your your own food. And that doesn't happen overnight. But you also don't have to grow a farm overnight. Start with plants. You know what I mean? And then there's this idea of getting out of prepping. We have a whole course on prepping for uncertain times and doing it panic free. And just you don't have to go out and like stock up for 2 years this weekend, but maybe just take 1 or 2 steps to get you prepared for which inevitably is uncertain times. We have a course on that in this.
Peggy Hall is teaching that, right? Yeah.
What's that?
Peggy Hall, I think, is teaching.
Peggy Hall is teaching this course, and she has an expert in there who just does a phenomenal job breaking it down. I watched the whole thing. And whether you're into crypto or think it's the devil's way, I understand both sides of it. But, we have 2 courses on crypto, and just the idea is like, okay, maybe there's obvious flaws, and the central bank digital currency would imprison us forever, and it's super dangerous. But there's also a lot of potential for decentralized financing, finding a solution where we're not relying on the dollar, because we do need an alternative to that. And yes, gold and silver and those are things. But so I'm just really excited to talk about common law, because what you just said, Rob, is the idea that it takes learning. And this entire bundle that we have this common law course. It's an $80 10-module video course. We've got all these other things I talked about, and homeschooling, and prepping, and wild birthing.
Detox. Gardening.
Detox.
Yeah.
We have multiple detox. We have like 5 different detox programs in this. Fermenting, growing your own bread, baking your own bread. I guess you don't grow it. See how little I know? So it's I'm emphasizing this because these solutions are this new earth that we're looking at. And we got to take the law, we got to take the finance, we got to take the food, we got to take the health system and reconstruct these from the ground up and create this new earth. And that's why we put this bundle together, because it has all of these courses and books. And we said, well, it's going to cost $2,000 if everybody buys this thing, all these courses. But we consolidated it, and it's $50 for the entire thing. There's
and it's
no
worth
upsell.
$2,400. It's worth $2,400.
$2,400 value for this entire thing. And if you bought each of the things separate, but we've just packaged the whole thing because the creators said, let's do it. Let's get this out to the world. And we're doing it just for 10 days. And then we stopped selling it. So that's, you still have access to everything. We just stopped selling it because that's the deal. That's how we can make it so cheap. So anyways, I just want to emphasize, we've been working really hard on the solutions. I've been trying to think of okay, I'm not a common law expert, or natural law, but let's bring someone like Rob, to start to share and shed the light. So, let's look at this as a long-term plan. We're getting our master's degree in building the new earth. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here.
Absolutely, man. No, I love it, man. I think education is super huge, especially in this realm. So the more you guys can offer people, the better, and look, there is a divine time when people are going to awaken to how deep the rabbit hole actually goes, right? So critical mass will be reached when divine time is right, when that appointment is there. So that's why I tell everybody, just relax and keep doing what you're doing. Just keep waking up, wake up further,
Yeah, and this bundle, the cool thing is once you access it in the next week or so before the 27th, you have a year to access those courses. And once you do access them, you have them for life, So don't think you have to have it all figured out, and don't think you have to be a master gardener. I'm still battling with my dogs in the backyard who keep digging up my plants. And so I'm figuring out how to do a fence here and do that. And sometimes you just got to laugh, because there's so much we have not been taught that we literally have to be we have to be patient with ourselves and unlearn. But what the system wants you doing is they want you numbing up, drinking a bunch of booze, watching the game, gambling, on pornography. They want you doing everything but studying and empowering. There's a quote from oh God, what is that video? I'm blanking on the name of the video, but our oppressors, let's just say that, those who pretty much hate us, they have said on record, and I'll remember in a second, because I know, Rob, you've probably listened to this, that the one thing they fear is intelligence and directed with a passion. You know, so someone who is absolutely dedicated to learning and getting the knowledge to untangle themselves from this system, and being fervent with it, and relentless. That's what they fear the most. And so, and, you know, I myself feel pulled in sometimes, and I just want to watch TV, kick my feet up, and, you know, herbalize, and just numb up, and just, you know, not, it's, I'm tired, you know, I've been working on my feet all day.
Yeah.
I could feel myself being pulled into, just do it tomorrow, you know, but we have to just we have to be disciplined. We have to just at least put in an hour at night to study something that you want. Just if it's like Rob has said in the past, just look at the definitions of things. Just get a Black's Law dictionary, a fourth, you know, you can do a PDF, Black's Law fourth, and just look up definitions, and you'll be like, well, that's what that means. Okay. I thought, you know what I mean? Like, if we all just do a little bit. So I think my point is this course, this bundle, will be good in that regard, because you can focus on one thing. Maybe just say, this week I'm gonna study this course 1 hour a night, you know. And again, once you access these, you'll have them for life. So
and in the courses, you get the books, you could download, keep those for life. And the courses, you have up to at least a year, and some may last longer. So just want to emphasize that point. In, you know, the idea that, like, some of these courses you can, like, bookmark, and you check, like, all right, module 1 done, complete, you know. And so it's very organized stuff. And it's like, yeah, you can go get a book on stuff, but courses can be so much more effective, you know, when you have. And the thing is, someone brought up a really interesting point yesterday, and they're like, you know, it's one thing to have $2,400 worth of stuff for $50, but what's probably equally as valuable is, where do you find this stuff? Who knew about a 10-module course on common law and these crypto courses? What?
Tiny homes. I want a tiny home.
Living out of your car. So we took all of these resources and put them together, and I think that's you know, it's just to have resources in one place that you can access if you truly want to start to move the needle towards getting yourself out of the matrix, you know. And that's what this is all about. So, but I don't want to get us too far off of the law topics here. You know, Rob, can you tell us about Marcus Fellowship, and, like, what does that involve? And is this something that people can also, like, get involved in and start enjoying themselves?
Yeah, I mean, House of Marcus Fellowship, everything that we do is 100%, you know, it's nonprofit, it's unregistered, right? It's a church. We have a church. House of Marcus Fellowship is the ministry of the church. We do everything under Christianity, not religion. Christianity is not religion, right? So a lot of people, you know, they get all freaked out. It's like, no. You have to understand what that's all about, right? We use that because we know that's the law of the legal system. Christianity is, like, I'm reading law this morning, and when you read in some of these law books, they'll talk about, well, you know, statute this and statute that, unless it pertains or follows the law. Well, wait a minute, you're talking about statutes there, not the law. What law are you talking about? The law is much higher than that. It all comes out of that Bible. So don't get freaked out if you go to the houseofmarcus.org and you see, like, you know, Christian stuff. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, we're using the most superior law that system will recognize in order to direct them where we want them to go, what we want them to do for us. So that's why we do it. So House of Marcus, basically, we're dumping tons of information on the website. I mean, our library alone, it's $33 a month for a membership, and you can cancel at any time. You could even pay $33, pop in, don't like it for 4 weeks, and jump out. I mean, it's that easy. And I mean, our website alone, our library alone, there's books, some of the books in there are worth $500, you know. I mean, just that alone. Plus I do courses, videos, my document templates. And as I take steps to handle legal matters, I build those out and I put them onto the website, and I explain to people. Our community forum is great. I mean, there's a ton of people. You can go in the community forum and just chat it up with everybody of like mind. We've got, I can't even tell you, I think there's like 1,000 or 2,000 views every other day on the forum and comments, and no one argues. There's not been one argument on our entire forum this entire time, because everybody's helping each other and all that stuff. And so that's all, you get all that for $33 a month. Our document templates are an extra donation because, I mean, hey, some of these documents that I've got, I mean, people have discharged over $1 million in debt with this stuff for $200. You know, I mean, come on, like, really? I think it's worth it. So, you know, what we're doing is community building, okay? And we're also teaching, like, look, we're going next level, and we are taking this to the point where we're going to get our inheritance back, because your inheritance is stolen at birth and you never get it back. You die without it, okay? But we figured out, oh, this is how we get our inheritance back, right? So we're teaching our members that, but we won't go out in the public and start telling everybody how to do it, because I learned when I did that the last time and they arrested me in 2013 that that's not the way to go. They want you to build everything privately so that you're not waking people up or attempting to wake people up who don't want to be woken up. That's their choice. You let them have that. You let the public swallow them up. That's their thing.
That's their property.
Why we have the House Markets Fellowship.
Yeah, and just this morning I put a post on there about lawful money redemption, and I was like, you know, hey, how do you deal with bank underwriters when you're trying to get a new loan for a home or refinance? They're not going to understand lawful money redemption. And so I put that out there, and people were like, oh, you get all your withholdings back? And so I'm helping people, you know, get in contact with the guy who helped me. And so, yeah, it's all just love there. But Rob, man, your trusts are the trust language, and the trust law is just something that is like next level, and something we really need to understand, is because everything is based on trust. And I think when I was reading through some of your trust documents, it looked like that you have the ability to do what I'm trying to do with my lawful money filed tax returns, which is you have the ability to purchase property and do all these other things through the trust. And so it's taking, man, this is just an evolution to go from how I was filing my tax returns years ago to just letting them withhold my money and take all my money, to then filing in lawful money and getting it all back. And to now, it's like, now I'm going to learn this trust stuff, because I want to be able to, like, I'm outgrowing my house. My kids are getting bigger, and I'm a little apprehensive because our bank underwriters, who are all about form and they only see things in this box, how are they going to understand if it looks like I have a loss in my profit and loss, because that's just deduction for lawful money demand? You know, it's complex, you know. So I'm just I'm putting feelers out on the forum, see what people know, and then I'm helping people, you know, if they want to get their withholdings back. But ultimately, I think it's understanding trust and how to put your assets into a trust and leverage them that way. And you don't own anything, but you control everything. And man, it's just a journey. And real quick, before I forget, what I was forgetting was everyone should listen to the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. Okay, when I said these people who hate us and want to enslave us and control us, that's in that there's an audiobook, and I'll post it again on my Telegram. Join my Telegram chat. But it's in there where they say all the things they want to do to us, and they have been doing them to us. But they say, hey man, the one thing we fear is focused intelligence and relentless, relentless and focused intelligence is what they fear.
Because think about it, that's what they use on us, right? Everybody has, they use it in the sense that we're lack of intelligence, but they use our focused fear and that passion and that anger of fear to keep them in power. That's why all this fighting and, rah, 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 and stand up and fight all you're doing is helping them stay in power. You will never ascend. That they don't want you being knowledgeable and learning how to focus your love and passion, like Dave, exactly what Dave just said, in a focused point of solution where you block out all the fear and all of the thought of, oh, well, we could never do that. Like, how many people listening to this could think that you could start your own government? Start it. What? That's crazy. I can't do that, right? No, you can. But you just shut yourself off and blocked off your manifestation because you won't even believe that that's possible. So what Dave is saying is, they're scared to death of us focusing our positive attention on solutions and blocking out all their shit, their football games, their wars, their vaccines. Block all that shit out.
Propaganda.
Build. Knowledge. The more you become knowledgeable, the more powerful you are. When I would go in these courtrooms, judges would shit their pants because I was unmoved. They didn't scare me. I was unmoved, and I was slamming them with words that they couldn't even keep up with. They're like, oh, shit, like, what do we do? Oh, I got to leave the bench. I'll be back, and they'd run off the bench because they didn't know what to do.
But what did it take for you to get to that point, to where you felt like
for me, studying. But what happened was, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, just studying, and then having the guts and the creativity to sit back and think, how am I going to do this in the courtroom? What am I going to do? I'm going to go in there and put a show on because it's all a show, right? So if it's a show, then let me go in and put a show on. And that's exactly what I would do. I'd bring, a group of people with me. Hey, you guys be my witnesses. You be my jury. We're going to set this thing up. But without that creativity and thinking that it's possible, how would I have ever even done that? Right. And from those experiences sprouted all kinds of stuff with people, right? Because those people that witnessed it, whether they were involved with us or they were just there witnessing, saw a whole different world that day. Now that just opened their mind, right? And they're like, shit, there's things are possible. And that's what Dave was talking about with that focused, intelligent passion is you start to pop pineal glands, man, and they start opening up,
Well, let me ask you guys a fun question.
Yeah, let's do Q&A.
If I may.
Yeah.
Let's just imagine we clone Rob. We take him to the World Economic Forum and, get the inside scoop with Klaus Schwab. I'm sure they know how to clone people out there. And so we clone Rob and make a million people around the globe doing what you're doing. And people waking up and educating and going deeper and finding the pitfalls. Okay, what's the potential for humanity and how can humanity look different, if we were to address and apply what's possible to apply to come back to the true law that we know is possible?
Well, I think there would be more, just my perspective would be there would be more private societies. There would be more people linking up and turning off the TV and not following the propaganda because they would realize it's all fake. And they would stop giving their power away to politicians, It's like, thinking a politician cares about you is thinking that a stripper likes you, It's the people, I saw a pretty cool meme. People, it's like, someone who idolizes a politician or thinks that a politician cares about them is the same as going into a strip club and thinking a stripper actually likes you.
Yes.
Right. So
you're just there to get robbed.
But so I think it's just it's getting into the private model because the public is definitely doomed, and we have to operate in public, but we need to be able to separate the two. And right now, most of the people think there's only the public. There's not a private, and that's all these secret societies is private membership associations. The Bohemian Grove, which is right up the street here.
Wow.
They meet every July. The chemtrails all stop. They come here. It's just beautiful weather. And then right when they leave, we get fires and more chemtrails. But their PMA, they hire the sheriffs to protect them. Everything, the Bilderbergs, that's them essentially giving us the model of how to operate in the world.
Are those PMAs? The Bilderberg and Trilateral?
I know for a fact the Bohemian Grove is a PMA.
Wow.
The Bar Association is a PMA.
They run the
Which is
courts, the bar.
The Bar Association is a PMA. That's not a state agency. That's a private
It's
organization.
like the Federal Reserve is Federal Express.
Yeah, exactly. Same exact concept.
Wow.
Neither federal nor reserve. But yeah, the bar, the British accredited registry, the judges, the prosecutors, all the attorneys, they're all in one big club, and it's all about just making money. Yeah, and then if someone actually wins a lawsuit against them and decodes the system, this monkey figured it out, and here's a settlement, but they have to sign an NDA, so they can't get out, so the case law doesn't get out. But it's all about private. It's all about just getting out of the jurisdiction, knowing who you are, knowing on the hierarchy of creation, knowing that those are your servants. And the statutes are for persons and corporations, not for men and women. So it's like conditional acceptance. If they're saying something applies to you, then you say, I would definitely love to see how that applies to me if you can show me the law. That kind of, it's just getting into that sort of thinking where we're still at peace and honor with them, but we're just asking as king, creditor position, they owe us a response when we're asking questions. We are the kings. We're the heirs of the kingdom of heaven.
Wow.
Right? So when
the government works for us, they're responsible.
Right.
They are required to respond to us. They're responsible for. They're serving us.
Right. So when we say, hey, can you show me the evidence, the law that this applies to a man or woman, or someone who has corrected their law of property status and obligation, which is what Rob's paperwork allows you to do, they have nothing, and they have no standing, and they have no jurisdiction. So to answer your question, it would be a lot of people gaining that understanding, that knowledge of what we have to do to get into the private, mirror what all these secret societies are doing, and just do that, and understand that through conditional acceptance, any claim that's made against us, we can rebut that claim honorably through conditional acceptance. And that's in commercial law, the ways to accept a contract offer. There's honorable, there's dishonorable. Dishonorable is fighting or going silent. Honorable is conditionally accepting upon proof of claim, or just assenting and saying, yes, I'll do what you want. So we always want to be conditionally accepting or accepting, never arguing, never going silent. Just understanding these principles is huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of basic principles, but some of the underlying stuff, Ben, when you'd asked your question, and Dave, when you were explaining, is economy, right? You said the World Economic Forum, right? Dave was just talking about commerce. The cage, the slave system is economy.
Commerce.
So I'd ask people this, when you look out your window, are the birds paying each other for food? Are the deer paying anybody for food? Did they have to get a license to walk across the road and eat the grass? Right? So how is economy natural? It's not natural. It was never natural. It was contrived and brought to this planet by beings that said, no, we're going to take this over and we're going to run it our way, and these people are going to serve us. Right? Beings playing God. You've heard the thing about Satan, the fallen angel, that's what they're telling you. That yes, there are beings who control this planet, and one of the ways they do it is through economy. We don't need an economy. We just need a system of trade. So when we go to get tomatoes from the guy down the street, the tomato grower, I have something to give him in return. It doesn't have to be, there's no economy, there's no money. That's the first mindset, right? Oh, we need money. Well, we only need money because that's the focused, ignorant energy they want you to have to create their economy. So to me, what the world looks like is, once you go through all this and people awaken to that level, is just like Dave said, we have a bunch of private, meaning no government is involved with our private contracts to serve each other. Yeah, with whatever we need, right? Whatever we need. It's all there. The world is abundant. There's plenty here for all of us. That's what the world looks like. Now, how does that transition look to me? It looks like the old system is going to swallow up and keep all those in fear who want economy and money and success and all these things that the mind thinks actually makes them somebody. That's going to eventually shrivel up and die and take down whoever's going with it. The rest of us are creating that new world, if you will, that doesn't have an economy, because we don't give a shit about money and status and success because we're already whole. Like, isn't that the spiritual journey, to walk until you yourself feel whole in who you are?
Absolutely.
And if you do, then what else do you need from your neighbor other than something to keep you, you know, shelter, food, things like that, right? Because your ego doesn't need to have, you know, the fanciest lawnmower, car, TV, you know, pool in the back. You don't need that shit, because you realize, I don't need that to live. That might be nice to have a pool, maybe something like that.
Right.
But, you know,
that's it. When we put our given lack, you know, when we start to feel that separation and thinking about separating, think how much we've been separated, the more lack, the more separation that we experience, the more we're longing for fulfillment, and the further we are from our true essence, our true self, and the more we're living in fear, the less we're thinking critically, the more we're dependent on others for our guidance. You know, it's no coincidence of all of this, you know, that it's happening this way. And it's just amazing to see that, because I don't think a lot of people have seen the legal system from the standpoint of, well, we can get out of the, you know, we can find financial alternatives with, you know, different things. We can find different health solutions, but law we're stuck in. I think that's a lot of people just never realize that there's actually this world out there that you're bringing to light. And it's really arguably not one of the four legs of the stool for humanity to kind of break free from the matrix, but it's like principally, it's everything. You know, if we can really free ourselves from this, we're freeing ourselves from the financial tyranny. We're freeing ourselves from, you know, the systems in general. It's like the house of cards will crumble if we can wake the world up to how this is really working.
I don't know if people are going to be woken up, though. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a 100th monkey sort of thing where things just snap. I don't know. But when I go in public, I see the people that I live around and see are just, there's like poverty, people going into poverty, which is really sad. And then there's people that look very unhealthy, which is also really sad. And then there's people who just, all they care about is having the latest boat and car and best clothes and image and ego and stuff like that. So I don't know if those people will make it through this. This is really tough, because they're gonna go down. They're thinking that the government officials and the WHO and all these the health officers actually care about their health. You know, and it's like, I struggle with this every day. Like, how do I communicate to this person that, like, they're telling you to wear a mask not because they care about your health, but because they want to actually enslave you and take away your rights and keep you in a fog of knowing who you are. And it's just like, I can't correct and help everyone. We can get into the private a little bit, you know?
Yeah, let me shed some light on that, because I've been, you know, I woke up in 2009. So exactly what Dave is saying, right? You have this burning passion to just wake people up. But I had to realize after all these years, the only thing that's doing is burning me out, because it's not my job to wake them up. What is my job is to do my thing and show people how I walk. And when they go, well, how are you walking that way? I go, like this. You're more than welcome to come over here and learn about it. But I'm not going to go, hey, you watch the way I walk this out. Look at what I did. Then you need to do this too.
Right.
That's not my business. That's God's business. So Dave, I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see the majority wake up. I think the minority is going to be the ones that carry everything through when the majority gets wiped out. That's really what I think.
Well, okay, I want to come back to that, but I've also heard like some wars were won with 3% of the people really fighting in the wars, and I don't like the term fighting, but in history that's what it was the case. So this could be, I think we're just about to embark potentially upon an extremely interesting topic about what the future holds. But I also want to do two things: respect your time, as well as I have a prior engagement at 5:30. Speaking of tiny homes, I'm going to be talking to Alexis on tiny home living. And
nice.
yes, so I've got a little window to take care of some fires before that. But guys, I could talk to you all day about this stuff. So a couple things I want to maybe like do just at least grab one question. I want to answer. People say, where did we get the bundle? Now, there's something called the Offgrid Sustainable Living Bundle, where we have a course on common law in there. It's a 10-module course. Like this stuff we're talking about is very similar, the same category. That's just one course out of 40 plus books and courses we have in this thing. So imagine like you're getting this massive library of stuff where the entire thing is $50 and it's only for 10 days. There's no catch, there's no upsell, there's no buy this and then we're gonna end, there's nothing, there's no catch at all. The only catch is that it's only for 10 days and then we stop selling it because that's the agreement we have with all these creators who put their high ticket courses and books into this bundle. Common law, crypto, gardening, tiny homes, living in a van down by the river, prepping, health, cleansing, all that stuff is in this bundle. And we're promoting it heavily because we only have 10 days to get this out to the world and then we can't do it anymore. It shuts. So you guys, David and I have that in our bio, and you guys go to either one of our bio, click on it. So it's a 1-minute download, and you get this entire thing immediately.
I'll put it on right now.
To the courses.
Yep.
And in terms of Rob, guys, he has the House of Marcus Fellowship, which is a monthly membership. It's only $33. You could join it, and you get tons of information specifically on common law in this group. Where you can connect with other people and interact and deep dive into this stuff. And that's another thing as well. So go to Rob's, and by the way, Rob is general executioner, and the golden rule is Dave. What's that?
I said executor. I don't want to execution anybody. Sorry.
Hold on. But see, you are executing some of those judges when you go into their courtroom, though.
Well, again, just the executor position alone, man. Like people are, what's that? I mean, that's a major, major powerful title, if you will, to have.
Yeah, and how did you come up? What is that name, and how does that apply?
Well, you are the general executor over the entire estate. Yeah, again, that goes all the way back to understanding the legal person and what they created at your birth. Remember, they took your footprints, your landmarks, right? So before your feet ever touched land, so you could never own real estate, they made sure they put it on a piece of commercial paper first, right? Then they took your blood, now your DNA and everything. Now that's all held in trust, right? Because you gave it to somebody. Where is it? Your parents never saw it again. And if you've ever seen a newborn information sheet where the footprints go on, and I'll just Google it, you'll see mom is the one that signs everything away. That's because in the law, the father is the executor, right? The CEO of the household. He's the one that passes the inheritance. So the mother, without his knowledge, goes in and passes the property off to the state. And from that point forward, you're living in sin. That's what living in sin means. Living in sin doesn't mean that you can't drink alcohol or that you had sex before marriage. Living in sin means you're born into commerce, period. And your mother sold you there, okay? If you read about, I'm probably going to misquote this. I think it was it Abraham that was given the promise. Okay, and he had a bondwoman, and he had a son with a bondwoman who was a servant, and then he had a son with a free woman. The son with the free woman was a free man. The son with the bondwoman, the servant, the bondage, the commerce was not free. They're telling you everything in the Bible, how this whole thing works, right? So again, when we talk about, the general executor and where that comes from, it comes from understanding estate law, right? Because the word estate means like the sum of all property, essentially. In short, if you look up the definition of estate, it's like 20 pages long. And I always say to myself, whenever there's a really good piece of information to your freedom, they try to hide it with all this shit, right? But very simply put, the word estate means the sum of all property. When you're born, there's an estate. They take the estate from you. When you become the general executor and you step into that position, you're saying, no, I am of the age now that I know how to execute and manage this estate with honor, dignity, respect, just like a king does or a queen. That's what a sovereign does. A sovereign knows how to handle their shit. Well, nobody, when I look around, knows how to handle their shit because they're too busy worried about, gathering things that they can never own.
And they're immoral.
And they're immoral, so to speak, right?
An immoral society needs governance. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Dave.
No, just an immoral society needs governance and is not capable of self-governance.
So that's another reason to create the chaos, because it needs more governance that way. It's all by strategy. Hey guys,
big circle.
We come on with the intention of doing questions,
and we do not.
We don't get around to them. We're just gonna have to do this more often, because I don't know about you, but I get off energized every time I talk to you guys, and I'm just like feeling like, man, this is great. And every time a little bit more, I'm starting to get the terminology. I'm starting to piece it together. Light bulbs go off, and so this is going to be great. A couple of things. Yes, I'm going to save the live. If you guys, again, just one more time, someone had kept asking about the bundle. Yes, you can get that in the link in Dave's bio, in my bio as well, and you can go to Rob's bio, the general executor, and you can check out his fellowship in there. It's a $33 a month thing, and it's amazing. It's like it's got to be. It's just loaded with information on everything we're talking about today, plus the support group and interactive. So if you really want to deep dive there, check that out as well. But guys, I'm going to have to let you roll. Can we do this again soon?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super busy. Like I said, man, like my workload is insane, but if we can schedule it, I know these are very helpful. So, we're on, let's just text each other and figure it out.
Let's just text. Yeah. And all the questions that are on our DMs, let's just write them down and then share them on the next live. Okay. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. That sounds good. That sounds really good. It'd be really cool to kind of do that as well. Man, we can figure out another format too of just having the questions and boom, 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 and we'll go right through them.
Much easier than answering all these DMs that, so I think we'll do that. And quick plug, if anyone has trouble sleeping, I'm making Organite, that's what I do, and helps people with sleep. Radionics, Organite, very powerful, and just a little quick plug there.
No, honestly,
deep sleep.
Guys, check out Dave's work. And one more thing, some people are just in terms of the bundle. Yeah, so this is totally different than that plant-based bundle. That was like meal plans and stuff. This is about getting off the grid, exiting the 9-to-5, freeing yourself from the matrix from a legal standpoint, financial standpoint, homeschooling, detoxing your body. We have stuff on like detaching from your mind and getting
foraging, gardening. Yeah.
Listen, if I could just say one last thing, because I know we got to go, you got to get, but just what you just said a minute ago, getting away from that 9-to-5. Being creative, learning these tools in that bundle so that you can start figuring out how I'm going to get rid of this 9-to-5. The bundle has that information in it.
It does.
And that's where you start to become free. Even if you haven't done like a lot of the law stuff that Dave and I are doing, you start to become free by taking life into your own hands and not working some bullshit 9-to-5, by doing something you're passionate about. It'll happen.
It'll happen. It'll happen.
It can happen. We have the best experts in there. Just it's the same one as Jorge Contreras, who's got an amazing book on our course on how to get off 9-to-5 for making money. It's the same bundle as that. So we have making money in all of it. I said just go check out the website, guys. It's only available for 10 days. It's only $50. It's 97% off. I just want to get it out to as many people as possible before this 10 days ends, because once it goes, it's just it's gone, so it's
and again, guys and gals, once you access it, you have a year to access each e-course And from that gear, once you access it, you have it for life. Then you can just focus on one course every week if you want. You know what I mean? Don't get overwhelmed, but you have it for life. You can serve in all the knowledge.
That's how I started, man. I had to go around and find all these different websites and, study more and more each night after working 14 hours a day sometimes. I mean, that's what I had to do. Now these guys are giving it to you in one bundle. So
and you get there through the links in our bio. So if you go, you can go to Dave's bio, which is Truth is the Golden Rule. If you guys click the top left corner with the drop down, make sure to follow both these guys if you're not already. And you can go to Dave's page to get the bundle there. And if you go to General Executor, which is Rob, that is, he's the executioner in my mind, in a good way, with the bad guys. You can also check out what his fellowship there, which is mind-blowing. So, all right, guys, we'll let you roll. Thanks a million, guys. Great to have you both on.
Yeah, love you guys. I'll see you all soon. Let's set it up again real soon.
Sounds great, guys. Good luck with everything, Rob.
Thank you. See you too, Dave. See you guys.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.